Step inside a medieval castle and clap your hands. The sound does not just fade. It travels, curls along stone corridors, slips through stairwells, and returns to you, altered, stretched, sometimes magnified. That echo was not always an accident. In a world without microphones, surveillance cameras, or electronic amplification, sound itself became a tactical tool. Imagine guards hearing footsteps long before an intruder rounded the corner, or a lord whispering in a chamber designed so that only a chosen listener could catch the words. Medieval castles did not merely stand against attack, they listened for it. Their thick walls and vaulted ceilings were not only defensive barriers, they were acoustic instruments. Hidden in arches and passageways were subtle design choices that shaped how voices carried, how warnings spread, and how secrets were protected. The stone was silent, yet it shaped every sound within it. What seems like haunting resonance to modern tourists may once have been calculated advantage. These fortresses did not just echo with noise, they echoed with strategy. After the Norman conquest reshaped England, massive stone fortifications rose across the landscape. Castles such as Tower of London and Windsor Castle were engineered not only for strength, but for control. Narrow corridors, spiral staircases and vaulted halls created complex interior soundscapes. In continental Europe, fortresses like Château de Coucy featured enormous great halls where announcements needed to reach dozens of armoured knights at once. Builders quickly realised that stone vaulting amplified voices differently than timber roofs. Monastic architects, already experienced with chanting acoustics in abbeys, influenced secular design. Over generations, practical experience replaced guesswork. Lords demanded that commands travel clearly during a siege. Guards needed to detect movement in pitch-dark corridors. In an era of constant territorial tension, castles evolved into controlled acoustic environments. Sound became part of defensive planning, just as surely as moats and battlements. What began as structural necessity slowly transformed into deliberate sonic architecture. So, how did these acoustic strategies actually work? Imagine standing in a barrel-vaulted hallway. The curved ceiling acts like a waveguide. When a guard speaks, sound waves strike the stone and reflect forward rather than dispersing randomly. This means a quiet warning can travel farther with less effort. Spiral staircases added another layer. Because they were tight and enclosed, footsteps echoed distinctly, allowing defenders above to identify movement below. You know how, in a cave, even a whisper seems louder? The same principle applied. Some castles incorporated small wall openings or hidden chambers that functioned as listening posts. A narrow slit between rooms could transmit conversation clearly in one direction, while remaining visually concealed. Large great halls used high ceilings to let a lord project his voice without strain, the rising hot air carrying sound upward and outward. Thick tapestries were sometimes added strategically to dampen echoes when privacy was required. It was a balance between amplification and absorption. Builders did not have acoustic equations, but they had observation. Trial, error, and survival shaped each arch and corridor into a subtle instrument of awareness. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Today, architects use computer models to design concert halls with perfect reverberation. Yet, medieval builders achieved remarkable results with intuition and experience. The lesson is powerful. Acoustics can enhance security and communication without electronics. In modern emergency planning, hallway curvature, ceiling height, and material choice still influence how alarms carry. Schools and public buildings now consider how sound travels during crises. Imagine designing a structure where a shouted warning can reach every corner, even if power fails. The medieval castle reminds us that materials matter. Stone reflects, wood absorbs, fabric softens. Strategic placement changes everything. Even open-plan offices struggle with unwanted echo, because designers forget how surfaces interact with sound. By studying historic fortresses, engineers rediscover passive acoustic control, shaping spaces that either magnify or mute sound naturally. In a world dependent on digital systems, there is resilience in architecture that communicates on its own. The past quietly demonstrates that sometimes the smartest technology is geometry itself. When we wander through a medieval castle today, we often notice the chill of stone or the thickness of the walls. We may hear our own footsteps echo and think it is simply atmospheric. But centuries ago, those echoes carried meaning. They warned of approaching danger.
They strengthened authority in great halls.
They concealed whispers in shadowed chambers.
Acoustic design turned architecture into a living participant in strategy. The castle was not just a fortress of stone. It was a chamber of calculated resonance. Its corridors listened. Its vaults projected power. Its stairwells betrayed intruders through amplified steps. In understanding this hidden layer, we see medieval builders not as crude masons, but as perceptive engineers of sound. Their work teaches us that space is never neutral. It shapes behavior, communication, and security. As we design the buildings of tomorrow, perhaps we should listen more carefully to the lessons carved into ancient walls. If this unseen dimension of history changed the way you hear old stone, keep exploring, keep questioning, and let the echoes of the past guide your understanding of the spaces around. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned